Hi there, I'm Jenny Kirk, welcoming you back to the channel, and it's so great to see you. I do hope that you are well. Now, ever since we were working on the Garden Railway last, it does seem like an age. I have actually been making some really good use of it, running an awful lot of different trains out there, and the garden itself has mellowed in quite well from that initial groundworking that we did in some of the previous videos. But one of the things that's become apparent is that I really do need some more scenic detail, and in particular I really want to have a station as a kind of focal point, whether the layout is running or not, to really look good out in the garden. One of the problems is though that the materials that you quite often get items made from aren't always suitable for out in the garden, so I'm going to have to do a bit of work just to see what works out there. So come with me and let's get on with this project. Don't forget to hit that like button whilst you're watching this, and consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already done so. It really does help us out. You can also find us over on Patreon, and we've got a full merch store down below. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. Additional support comes from...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
The first thing that I wanted to do was plan where this station was going to go, and this seemed to be the ideal location towards the front of the Garden Railway, where there's a little bit more open space plus a siding, and that in turn leads onto the viaducts just across the front. So it'll be a really great location where I'll be able to see all the buildings and anything else that I put in this area. There's plenty of space in this new area that I've chosen for the station, but I was going to need to get in some retaining walls and also dig out some of the soil and prepare for what will become quite a strong structure that I'm hoping will really add to the ambience of this garden railway. The first thing in any platform build is the platform walls, and I chose this product from War World Scenics. These are made from resin, and as you can see they set out pretty well. I fixed them in place using my trusty hot glue gun by drilling, tapping and screwing screws in, and then hot glue gunning these to the tops of those. Did a bit of trimming, but essentially just got everything where I wanted it, and I was quite happy that the concrete mix would eventually just hold all of this in place. Once all the walling was in position, then I concentrated on digging out for the concrete pour of the platform. I just dug away the soil, actually digging down to the hardcore, and I also removed part of the previous track bed where that was going to interfere with how the platform would come together. Once I was happy with the walls and the digging out, it was time to do the concreting of the platform itself, and I used exactly the same materials and similar techniques to that I did with the ballast in a previous video. This is a product called Grano Dust, and I mix it about 50-50 with cement powder to make a really strong mix. Tamping it down with a small brush, it's just a case of getting it to the right level, and then I wetted it and kept tamping with the same brush to get all of the air bubbles out and to kind of manipulate it into the shape that I wanted. I wasn't too bothered about any overspill onto the track. I was going to clean that up later. It was just simply a case of tamping and tamping, not unlike when you lay ballast. It was important to make sure that I got a nice clean edge. I didn't want it to obscure any of the detail on that resin walling from Warworld Scenics. At the moment it's got a bit of a covering of the cement, but that will come clear in the cleanup stage that's coming a little bit later on. With plenty of water, I just rub down the track, and because this is exactly the same mix as the ballast is made of, it doesn't really matter too much. It's not going to discolour anything. Buildings and such like that are suitable for going out in the garden are actually quite hard to come by in O-Gauge, so I opted for a combination of using the Pico signal box kit, some Pico telephone boxes, and also a resin BD type container that I had, and just played about whilst the cement was still wet, fitting them in, along with that water crane that I got some time ago in a sale. The beauty of doing this whilst the concrete is wet is that they will seamlessly blend in and also be held quite rigidly in place, and I felt that this was important. I didn't want any space underneath for things like slugs and snails to be able to get in. There were a few of the Warworld Scenics resin walling strips left over, so I made use of these to do a little bit of walling at the back of the platform too. And this really did work out quite well. I just kind of set them down into the cement this time, and when that sets, it grips them really good and tight. And this just gave me a great demarcation between the platform and the area behind. I have to say at this point I'm really pleased with how this is turning out, and hopefully there'll be a degree of longevity to these buildings and they'll stand the test of time. I also found that I had a TARDIS, or a police phone box, in O-Gauge too, so I've added that to the platform as well. One thing I would say is that even if the base kit is in the right colour that you want, so if, for example, the police box and the phone boxes were moulded in the right colour plastic, it's important to give them a coat of paint. This protects them from principally UV light, which might otherwise destroy the plastic. So everything that you see has been painted before it's added to the model. With everything how I wanted it, and with the cement finally set, it's time to run some trains. And this is partially for gauge testing, but also because, well, do we really need an excuse to run the garden railway? I actually filmed far more than I needed for this video, so rather than waste it, let's enjoy some trains going round. One of the final things I looked to do was give the walling a coat of paint. I just used Humbrol number 87 to protect it and make it closer to the colour that I wanted. After 2 months, there's no sign of degradation whatsoever on any of the buildings, and they've really stood up well in the garden in some really hot sunshine, but also through some pretty bad weather too. I've also put some soil in behind the retaining walls at the back just to hide the edge of the concrete that forms the platform, and it really does seem to have come together quite nicely. Out in the sunshine, I actually got some of my wagons out, and I do know how to pronounce these: Östragunlais and Inniskedwin and Pulbach. And I do love my Welsh wagons. I did a few test runs, locomotive only, and it's really amazing how well this garden railway is standing up to really all weathers with minimal maintenance. I haven't needed to really do anything on the track at all. And this concrete base that we went over in some of the earlier videos really has solved so many of the issues that I had before. We've had quite a lot of hot sunny weather here, and it's allowed for a great deal of use of the garden railway. I have to say I really thoroughly am enjoying this, and hopefully some of that enjoyment does come across in what I've achieved. As the garden mellows in, it just gets better and better, and I'm so pleased that I refurbished my previous garden railway to give me something that is eminently usable and that I can just turn on and go. There is absolutely no messing about with this. Once again, I filmed actually quite a lot of footage, so let's sit back and enjoy some trains running in the garden. Thanks for watching. It's been great having your company. Don't forget to hit that like button whilst you're watching this, and consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already done so. It really does help us out. You can also find us over on Patreon, and we've got a full merch store down below. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.